Okay, we uh, we will reconvene the council meeting. Okay, if everybody could take their seats. We're missing Councilor Martin, but we do have a quorum. So we'll move on, and we're on page 27 of the agenda package. This is the FCM request for advocacy funding, and this is this yours, James? It says Chief Administrative Officer, and you're acting.
That's correct, Mr. Chair.
Go for it.
Through the chair to Madam Mayor and members of council, this report is presented before you as a request to support the FCM, or the Canadian Federation of Municipalities, which Norfolk County is a member of. They are starting a fund called the Outstanding Advocacy Fund. There is a attachment to the report which describes what they'll be using the fund for, but basically it's to bring municipalities front and center with the upcoming federal election. So that is the purpose of the report. Each member has been asked to contribute $6,000 towards the fund, and this report is before you to endorse it or disagree. Thank you.
Okay, we'll put the question to the floor. Councilor Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Would staff be able to discuss other municipalities that are comparable to Norfolk County that participate in this fund? It's my understanding that typically larger municipalities have membership here.
James?
Through the chair, I do not have that information with me. I'm not sure if there's other staff members that would have knowledge with that kind of information. I could bring that information back to you, though, if you like.
That would be great. I would love to see that, and actually I would be willing to put forward a deferral until we could get that information. As I said, it's my understanding that this is typically membership for much larger municipalities, so I would just like to find that out. Thank you.
Okay. The deputy clerk has advised me that this is specifically for the $6,000 request or denial, and that the FCM contribution will be discussed at budget, which is tomorrow or the next day. Go ahead and comment.
Through the chair, yeah. So this report is just specifically on the outstanding contribution alone. If council wants to discuss the actual membership of Norfolk County, then that is being brought up at the operating budget as a council approved initiative.
Okay, thank you. Through the chair to staff, would it be appropriate to ask for this information to come when we discuss that budget?
James?
Through the chair to Councillor Martin, our county solicitor just showed me a list of municipalities. There's 323 municipalities that are members, and there's 444 municipalities in Ontario, and the bulk of those 444 municipalities are really small, especially up in Northern Ontario. So that list could be circulated. I imagine there's a link to a website on the list of those municipalities. No, and I'm sorry, can you repeat your question?
I just wondered if you could provide the information to council prior to sitting down and having council be expected to pass the membership fee?
Absolutely. We can distribute the if it's preferable, we can distribute the link to the membership list to council via email.
Okay, further questions? So there is a motion that's recommended here that reports be received this information, and that county council provide a clear instruction to staff as to whether or not to pay the voluntary $6,000 outstanding advocacy fund contribution. Councilor Martin.
My apologies. I thought the deputy clerk was letting us know that we would be receiving this as information. I would like to move for deferral on this.
Okay, we have a deferral on the floor. Do I have a seconder? Mayor Chop, and any discussion with respect to the deferral? I will call deferral till when, I guess we should have a date to that. To budget discussions? To budget discussions? Okay.
Thank you.
Does everybody understand the recommendation? Councilor Van Passen?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My understanding that this is just a group that the county joined last year. I wonder whether you or Councilor Geisens could give a little bit of history about why you decided to join this. I know they do a lot more lobbying directly to the federal government level.
Right, best I recall is they are a lobbying effort. Last year was the first year that we contributed to the FCM organization. There was a payback where we actually came ahead, I believe it was. James, you're shaking your, maybe you can fill the council in on that issue.
Through the chair to Councillor Van Passen. So yes, 2018 was the first year of the membership dues, and that same year we applied for a grant related to our asset management plan, and we were successful in that grant. And I don't know the exact amount, but I believe it was around $40,000, $50,000 in that range. So that definitely paid for the membership for that year.
Okay, does that answer your question, Councilor Van Passen? Okay, Councilor Rabbits?
Thank you through the chair. I just had a comment that this is an optional expense, the $6,000 that's under consideration. We're brand new members to FCM, and while we do pay membership dues, and this is an advocacy group, what they're effectively asking for is some money to lobby the next election cycle. And I feel that as new members, we are paying our dues, and this is an ask that maybe we could say not necessarily never, but not right now. It's an additional expense. And it's something that's being used for strictly lobbying purposes, and I wouldn't be supporting it, but we can continue this discussion absolutely when we review it at our next meeting.
We have a motion on the floor. You're saying you're not supporting the deferral?
I will be supporting the deferral because we can talk about this at another time. It'd be nice to put to rest the $6,000 item and discuss membership at a later time. I will be supporting the deferral, but I just want to acknowledge, if we're talking about what's presented in front of us here, I wouldn't be in support of the additional $6,000 ask from FCM.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to go to Mayor Chop.
Through you, Mr. Chair, to Mr. Johnson, just a question, that grant that we received, is membership in this a requirement in order to have received that grant?
Through the chair to Madam Mayor, yes, membership is a requirement in order to apply for that specific grant.
And is the opportunity there to apply for it again?
So that particular grant, yes, we will be trying to get more funds from that grant in 2019. It's basically based on each, with our asset management plan, that part of the grant that we were successful with is for the policy that we will be bringing to council in July of 2019. And then there's other milestones with the asset management plan that the province is requiring municipalities to provide. And we will be able to apply for subsequent grants related to those items.
Okay.
So it would be unlikely, so we almost have an assurance that there's future money coming if we were to be a member, is that?
Through the chair to Madam Mayor, it would still be an application process, but with this particular group, they're always introducing new grant programs for different items, but it is only available for the members.
Through you, Mr. Chair, just one last question. Would it also be possible, I don't know if this is just a link on the internet you could send or something, to see a list of the grants that we might be eligible to apply for if we did go down this road?
Absolutely. The current grants that are available, I can make sure that that is also a link that I'll send you along with the memberships.
Okay, perfect. Thank
Okay.
you.
Councilor Huffman.
Thank you, Chair. Columbus. Just want to drag that out. So in effect, would this be not the equivalent, but would a good analogy be with the fees made that this is where certain groups, when they have their accreditation and they're able to access different funds and programs and things like that from the government, is it that type of, okay, all right, thank you.
Okay, back to Councilor Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I believe I read elsewhere in our budget that there is an ask for funding for a staff member to attend a seminar maybe I'm making the location up. I think it was Montreal. I'm wondering if attendance is required at this event also to receive grant funding.
Mr.
Uh,
Johnson?
Through the chair to Councillor Martin, I wouldn't think so, but I'd have to double check. The cost, if you look under the financial services comments, there is a budget amount of $3,900 to attend the annual conference. I don't believe attendance would hinder any grant funding.
Thank you. And would you be able to provide that information at the same time as the municipalities, please?
Absolutely.
That's all. Thank you.
Councilor Van Passen?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I know we are discussing a deferral, but that was going to be my suggestion at the budget. If we cancel the $3,900 trip and we pay with their $6,000 and make sure that we're involved, because I got a funny feeling that the next year the federal government's going to be trying to shovel money out the door, and we want to be in that lineup, right? So, but it will be deferred, and we will deal with it at discussions at budget.
So the way I see the recommendation that report CAO 19-04 be received as information, and that the matter be deferred to budget discussions. Okay, seconder, you made the motion, Councilor Martin. Seconder, Councilor Michelli. I'll call the vote. Those in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Okay. Do you want to do other business, or you want to go to closed session? Okay. Mayor Chop would like other business, so we will start with Ms. Miranda.
Nothing this evening, thank you.
Mr. Johnson.
I'm just looking forward to Wednesdays and Thursdays operating budget, and we'll get to know each other very well, I imagine. Thank you.
Great. Okay. Mr. Cridlin.
Nothing this evening, sir.
Ms. Disley.
Nothing this evening, sir.
Mr. Baird.
Nothing, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Clerk's Department. Nothing. Good. Okay, we'll start with Councilor Van Passen.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was asked to let council know that the Norfolk Federation of Agriculture's annual general meeting is going to be held February 27th at Springview Golf Course. So that includes like dinner and a guest speaker, and all of council is invited, and you can always contact me to get tickets if you're interested, and I will source them for you. So, besides, Springview is a beautiful place to be, even though it is in
Okay.
Councilor Huffman's ward. But
Thank you. Councilor Huffman.
Just a couple things. I just want to say that hats off to all of the Norfolk County road staff over the last couple days. Everything seemed to go wonderful with the roads being cleared. I didn't have any complaints or no issues regarding that. And I also want to say that the Old Town Hall did a phenomenal job with the 2 days that they had the sheepdogs there for their concert. Received a lot of press, and it was well received by everybody. So hats off to Old Town Hall.
Great. Councilor Martin.
I do have other business. I would like to take this opportunity to share with everyone that I have been fairly inundated with concerns from Port Dover residents with regards to the snow and the papers left at the end of their driveway and the damage to their snow blowers. I also had an email from a resident who has been in contact with the distributor and let them know that they would be liable for any problems during the absence if the papers were continued to be thrown in their driveway, at which point the papers stopped being delivered. I look forward to continuing this discussion with bylaw and helping out the residents of Norfolk County with the litter and snow blowing problems. Thank you.
Okay, that seems to be an ongoing issue. Councilor Michelli.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have nothing.
Councilor Taylor.
I would just like to echo Councillor Huffman's gratitude towards the staff that helped clear snow over the weekend. Kudos. Great job.
Councilor Geisens. Councilor Rabbits.
Thank you. Through the chair, this weekend on January 26th of 2019 at 7:30 p.m. at Simcoe Composite School on 40 Wilson Drive, there will be a call to the gathering. The Paris Port Dover Pipe Band will be performing, and I have confirmed my attendance on behalf of the mayor to attend, and it should be a good show full of music and a good night for everyone. I would encourage everyone that if you haven't heard about the event, to go ahead and get online. They're advertised through MyFM and Oldies, and it wouldn't be hard to Google it and find out about the event, and hopefully we can see a good attendance and a good showing out on Saturday. Thank you.
Mayor Chop.
I would just like to read the letter that I submitted to the newspapers this afternoon in regards to Mr. Sprague's reinstatement. So it is as follows. Dear citizens and friends of Norfolk, it is my great pleasure to announce that Mr. Gary Sprague will be returning this week to his duties with the Port Dover Fire Department. As the new mayor of Norfolk County, I offer my sincerest apologies to Mr. Sprague and his family for the handling of this matter. Mr. Sprague has served his community honorably as a member of the Port Dover Fire Department for 44 years, 22 of which he served as chief. For many years, he even worked alongside his father-in-law, who was a Port Dover firefighter from 1956 until 1994, when he retired as a captain. Norfolk County's fire departments could not function without our more than 250 volunteer firefighters and their supportive families. These volunteers and their wives and children don't get to choose when a call comes in. Being a volunteer firefighter means leaving home in the middle of the night responding to emergency calls. It means getting called away during dinner, missing birthday parties, and Christmas mornings. This is something that Wendy Sprague, Gary's wife, arguably knows more about than just about anyone, having supported both her father and her husband in a lifelong commitment to their community. She and Gary's 2 daughters are equally deserving of Norfolk's deep appreciation and gratitude for everything they have done and everything they have given up over the years. It is a fact that we live in an age of declining volunteerism, and so I hope that this unfortunate event doesn't deter others from joining in the future. The strength of the community that rallied behind Gary is something for which I am deeply proud, and you should be too. Sometimes bad things have to happen before we can inspire change, and I know that this new council is committed to rebuilding morale amongst our volunteers where it has been lost. As a result of staffing actions undertaken by the previous council, Mr. Sprague will be returning as a captain with the Port Dover Fire Department, but he has stated to me personally that he looks forward to working with the new Port Dover Fire Chief, Bill Howden, and passing along to him the knowledge he has gained over the course of his many years of experience. With that, on behalf of your entire council, we would like to say thank you to Mr. Sprague, his wife Wendy, their 2 children and grandchildren, and all of the other volunteer firefighters and their families. Thank you for leaving home in the middle of the night and during dinner, for missing birthday parties and Christmas mornings. Thank you for being heroes and role models. Norfolk County is an amazing place because of people like you. And so I hope everybody knows that's not just on behalf of myself, but our entire council here. On another note, I would also like to discuss or not discuss, but rather mention, I've received a number of emails in regards to the Causeway Bridge. I had a conversation today with Mr. Houghton, but I think that at some point in the very near future, we're going to need to have a discussion here, put that on the agenda, and have a very frank discussion with council members of what's going on out there and the frustrations felt by the residents in Long Point, which I can appreciate.
Okay. I do have 3 items that I want to mention. First of all, good news story, the Grey Cup. Calgary Stampeders won that this year. It will be coming to the village of Teeterville on February the 18th. So hopefully you can all attend and celebrate the Grey Cup event at Teeterville. The other one I had was the Causeway also. I did attend the open house, and there was a good attendance, I think. The Public Works Department was there, plus a consulting firm that's looking at designs and that. There was some concern about how long it's taking to make that come to being, and perhaps we'll hear about it in a report later, right, Mr. Baird? Causeway Bridge and the roadway there, I think it's about more than a $10 million project from what I understand. Lastly, I just want to mention that I bought my dog tag today for Mocha. February 1st is the deadline, otherwise you pay a greater amount. And her registered name is Mocha, but I call her Cha-Ching now because of all the money we've invested in that puppy. So please make sure that you get your dog tag license. You can buy that at any library in the county. Okay? So, I need a mover and a seconder for this one. This is to go into closed session. A mover and a seconder. Counselor Rabbits. And Counselor Michele, seconder. Okay, Madam Clerk, do you want to? Okay, I'll let her read it. It's her writing, so.
Through the chair, that committee move into closed session at 7:10 PM to discuss matters pursuant to Section 239(2) B, E, and F of the Municipal Act, as a subject matter pertains to personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality or local board, and advice that is subject to solicitor-client privilege, including communications necessary for that purpose.
Okay, those in favor? That's carried. We'll go into closed session. And to the press, I don't think anything will be coming out of that closed session. Right, Madam Clerk? Okay. Okay. We are back. We're back, folks, and we need a mover and a seconder for this motion. Moved by Counselor Taylor and seconded by Counselor Martin. That we now move adjourn closed session at 7:38 PM and reconvene in open session. Those in favor? It's carried. And that concludes the meeting.
Just the mover and seconder to adjourn.
I need a mover and a seconder to adjourn the meeting. Counselor Rabbits and Counselor Huffman move to adjourn the January 22nd, 2019 Council and Committee meeting. Any discussion? Those in favor? That's carried. Thank you. My instructions